Hello everybody, welcome. I'm at a library. I'm so sorry about my voice being quiet. I'm so sorry. But the thing is about in this whole tarot reading, I'm going to tell you is that this is going to be a tarot reading. It's going to be for April the 17th of 2025. It's going to be a Thursday reading. So, this is going to be very interesting on how it is. This is going to be how it is. This is not going to be short and sweet how it is. But the way of how this is, the way of how you can be gaining your own empathy of knowing what to do and how you're going to understand what your strengths, your weaknesses, your abilities from understand that. Because that's the way it goes, and that's the way it seems to be. We need to establish what we're going to be getting in that way of how it is, right? Like I say, I'm so sorry about my voice being so quiet like this, but that's the way it kind of goes, and this is the way of how interesting it is, right? We have to understand about how we can do it, how we can, how we can model our own situations, whether we like it or not. That's the way it goes, but that's how it is, right? And when you're in the library, you can't make very much noise. You can't. I'm so sorry about it. But if you want to, whether you're going to turn up the volume, you can if you want. That's the way it goes, and you can hear my loud as my voice goes. That's the way it goes, right? So that's what it seems to be, right? But in this wonderful reading, I hope you would all like it, enjoy it, and this is the way it seems to be in that way, alright? So, this is the way it goes. Try to understand this and how it is. So, here we go for the first dialogue. Here we go. So basically, we have the Two of Wands. It does represent planning. It does that. It does represent the abilities from that right or wrong perspective. That's the way it goes. So you could be dealing with another Leo, Aries, or Sagittarius as fire signs, right? As zodiac signs. You pay attention about what's going on in your own weaknesses, your own abilities, your own ways of how you can contract of how it is in that way, where you only have your own conjunctions, your own feelings, your own wants, your own needs, your own realities of how it is, right? That's why it seems to be in that way, where you need to understand about how it's going to be in that perspective. That's the way it goes, right? You have to understand about this is how setting it is, and that's the way it seems to be in that way. Everything needs to be all good, but this is all short and sweet. This is the ability from that perspective. You have to understand that, right? Because this is the way it goes, where you need to pay attention to what's going on in that feeling, whether you like it or not, whether you have your own base feelings. That's the way it seems to be. But you need to understand where you need to understand to collaborate and do things as long as it needs to. That's the way it seems to be, right? That's the way it goes, where you have to understand and say, alright, well, I know what to do, I got this, but this is the way it seems to be, I don't know what to do, right? That's the way it goes, where you need to understand about how it's going to be, how you can understand, how you can feel foul of how it seems to be, right? That's the way it seems to be. You need to understand that whether you have pleasure, whether you have your own wants, your needs or feelings, that's the way it goes, whether you're being impatient or if you're being patient, that's the way it goes. You need to understand that whether things have to be all good, but then you have to understand that, right? That's what it seems to be, and you need to understand that.
That's the way it goes.
You have to understand that. That's what it seems to be, right? That's why you need to understand about how you can do it in one way or another, right? That's the way it seems to be. So let's see. Let's see what's going on from the left side to the right side to the middle. 3 Wands reverse, you have no communication. So Wands is up right there is resilience, temperance is healing. 3 Pentacles is up right there is excitement. That's the way it goes. You could be dealing with another Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. You could deal with another Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, and zodiac signs. That's the way it seems to be. The temperance represents healing. That's the way it goes. That's the way it is, right? You have your own ways of understanding about what's going on in that sequence. You have to understand about how you can understand how you're feeling, how you're going to be representative of how it's going to be in that way. You need to understand that, how it is, right? That's what it seems to be in that way. Let's have somebody doing the right side, please. 10 Pentacles reversed, followed by the High Priestess reversed, followed by Like customers, there's no romance, there's nothing here. But then you have the Hierophant that represents your guidance. You know, you don't know which direction you're going to take, left or right. But you need to make your own decisions about it's going to be. That's the way it seems to be in that way. What's in the middle? The 10 of Wands reversed, 6 of Swords reversed, Justice reversed, 5 of Pentacles is upright. Yeah, because you're looking for money. You're looking for how you can do it in that way. Because you have to understand that. That's the way it goes. In one way or another, right? You have to believe that you can do it. But what's true, you know, you have to understand that. It's a way of how you can represent yourself, right? You have to feel about that. You have to think that you got this. You know what to do. But then you need to understand that. That's the way it seems to be, right? What's happening between the middle and the left? Like Pentacles reversed, Ace of Wands reversed, 8 of Wands reversed. There's no speed, there's no trust, there's no new beginnings, nothing like that. What's opposite between this? The Fool reversed. Over the 5 of Wands is upright, yeah, so there's chaos. So when you have chaos, you know, things are not going as well. What's happening on the right side, please? Queen of Wands is upright. Reversed. The Devil is upright, yeah, because you're feeling obsessions. You feel like there are restrictions. You know, that's the way it goes, right? What's happening in the middle? The Sun can reverse, yeah, there is negativity. So when you're in a negativity spot, that's the way it goes. It seems to be unpractical of how it's going to be. And that's why it seems to be in that way. You have to understand about how you can do it, how you can represent yourself. That's where it seems to be. What's happening on the left side, please? The Strength over here is there's no bravery. What's in the middle? Ace of Wands is no new beginnings. What's happening on the right side? There's anxiety. Yeah, that's the way it goes. So you can deal with another Capricorn as your sign. You can deal with another Gemini or Aquarius. That's the way it goes. That's air signs. What's happening on the left side, please? Tower upright, there's transformation. Pentacles represents kindness. That's the way it goes. You need to understand about how you can do it in that way, and you have to believe that you can do it in one way or another, because that's the way of how you can have your own response of how you're feeling, of how you're being wanted, needed, whatever it is. That's the way it seems to be. What's happening in the middle, please? Page Pentacles reverse facts. Judgment reverse. Judgment upright, there's action. Wheel of Fortune reverse, you're having bad luck. But Knight of Pentacles is where you're having trust. Yeah, that's the way it goes in that way. Because you're going to be having trust. You have the abilities from that right perspective way. What's happening with this Eight of Swords here? The reverse, there's no decisions. The Justice reverse, you're not telling the truth. But the Ten of Swords is upright, there's conclusions. Yeah, because that's the way it goes, right? You don't know about all the possibilities that are very interesting, but that's the way it needs to be in that way. Everything has to be all short and sweet, but that's the way it goes. Let's see what's going on. I'll read one card. And it says here, the Shadow Queen, acquiring knowledge, insecurity, manipulation. Yeah. So you could be feeling like you're having manipulation, where you're feeling manipulated by others and you're not trusting them, you're not feeling about what's going on, you need to apologize or whatever it is. Maybe you're acting like all greedy or whatever it is, too disrespectful, whatever it is. But then you need to understand about how criticize your own feelings, your own wants, your own needs. But the way of how this is, you have to understand that. That's why this is so bizarre about how appealing this is. Whether you like it, whether you understand that, that's the way it seems to be, you know. That's why it kind of concludes in that way. Whether you have to understand about your own experiences, you know, your own way. That's that's how it seems to be in that way. So when you feel like you have your own way, that's the way it seems to be. So I hope you all enjoy it, and I hope you understand about how it seems to be. And thank you so much. Have a wonderful day to all. So sorry about my voice being so quiet, but that's how it is. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day to all. See you next time. Bye for now.